My people, it's about that time.
Like a boss.
Live from the USA, helping you get paid every day. This is the boss of Bitcoin, the Cristo of crypto. It's your boy BK. And if you don't like me, you must not like money. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Today we are doing a live price prediction for gold. AU is making national news today, sitting north of $2,700 an ounce. We will be answering the question, should you buy gold? And most importantly, how do you measure the value of gold? What is its relative worth in today's world? These questions and many more will be answered during today's discussion. So if this is your first time tuning in, congratulations, baby. You are now rocking with the best. My name is BK, also known as a crypto trader, and I'm the boss of these charts, as you will soon find out. Every day I grace this microphone with my voice is another day you get to profit as a result, and today is no exception. So if you haven't done it already, make sure you subscribe and like this video. I give away free Bitcoin every Friday. You got a chance to win every single video that I come out on the air. I do a video every day, so you do the math. Bam! It's just that easy to get paid. Rep your city. Shout out your city in the comments. That's all you need to do. At the end of every video, I go through and I shout you guys out live on the air. Every single Friday, I jump in, I pick a random comment, and that person won some free BTC compliments of the boss BK. Small thing to a giant. This is the price I pay for mass adoption, teaching people how to download wallets, accept the transfer, look up a transaction on the blockchain, all of the above. We are here to profit and prosper in this new digital age. So without further ado, let's make it do what it do. Let's go ahead and make this money. Real quick, if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you watch this video I just did a few days ago. It's called Should You Buy Silver? I went through and did a price prediction on silver. Right now it's sitting at $31 an ounce. If you've been following my channel for the past few years, you should already know I am a profit maximalist. That's what you could call me. It don't matter if it's ostrich feathers or it's Ethereum. If it's about to make you money and the charts are in favor for the near and dear future, I'm gonna recommend that you buy it, right? But given that we living in 2024, gold and silver are still very, very relevant in today's world. Granted, they don't have the significant financial yielding power that they once did as a common day currency, but that doesn't take away from the fact that they're still prolific in both industrial and economic utilizations throughout the world, right? This is an article printed today, 5 hours ago. Gold's hit records high as investors eye Fed rate cut, right? It's always 2 or 3 things that, the CJB propaganda pages will, oftentimes allude to as to why the market either went up or went down, right? It's the interest rate, it's gold, it's oil, it's Saudi Arabia, it's the peace treaty, it's NATO, it's UN, it's, it's about 7 good things, right? The yield, the yield curve, it's all these different things. They will tell you 18 different ways why you lost money yesterday and not one way how to make money tomorrow morning. Well, guess what? You know what I'm saying? I got this method called the boss method, and it does the exact opposite. It basically predicts the future, correlating it to the present by inferring it correctly with the past through fractal harmonics and, a little bit of sacred geometry. We'll get into that in a little bit. Let's talk about Costco customers, central banks, and other investors have been buying gold like it's 1849. But analysts are struggling to understand why or when this run will end. The latest rally on Tuesday saw gold rise as high as $2,500 an ounce, surging past the previous record. Today, again, it's sitting north of $2,700 an ounce, so this is a little bit outdated. But it's crazy, right? This thing is literally rallying, and it's a lot of people in the world, a lot of baby boomers, right? You got to remember how time has changed currency and society, right? And it really goes back to the Bretton Woods. If I could get inflation of the dollar, right? Sometimes if you go to images, they'll have this one curve that has the different historical events. I think that's it right here. Rise and fall of the dollar, right? There it goes right there. 1943, the Bretton Woods Agreement. This was essentially a handshake that changed the world. A lot of people don't even know what this is, but it was a 30-year agreement to debase the currency of everyday utilization with a fiat currency. Basically, the money used to be backed in gold. You know what I'm saying? Back in the early days, right? After the Bretton Woods Agreement, and it was literally like the frog in boiling water. Like, this happened over the course of 30 years. So it didn't complete, I think, until 1973. Oh, and by the way, they had an oil crisis after that, so they had to go to war for that oil. And the petrodollar came into existence, right? It was no longer backed by gold. It was backed by oil and the willingness to bomb whoever we need to go out and get more. You see what I'm saying? Bretton Woods was basically the frog in boiling water. Like, over the course of 30 years, the money went from being a gold-backed currency to, it might have value, it might not, but we got all these tanks, so you better not ask too many questions. Back currency, right? As of late, this thing has had a huge rally, right? Even going back, this was the beginning of the dot-com bubble, and gold is often paired to economic uncertainty for whatever reason, because again, it's like this moment of parity where they went from having real money, i.e. gold-backed currency, i.e. silver certificates, to fiat banknotes, private-owned banknotes. Like, when you look at a dollar, like, it has somebody else's name on it. That's their signature. Did you know anytime you see a signature on a piece of paper, it's a contract? You see what I'm saying? So you walking around carrying a contract in your pocket that you don't even own the rights to. It's crazy. Somebody else already signed it. They own it. They own the interest on it. You ain't got no interest in there, right? But gold is like its weight. It's from the earth. It's from the world. It's a currency. It has energy. Currency is energy. You see what I'm saying? And when we jump on this thing, freestyle on a Fibonacci one time, this is going to give us, I'm going to do it at this little short run right here, right? That's a big span. Can't do that one. Right here, right? This is basically gold, right? These are the different levels that are set in it. And we could go down a little bit. Yeah, probably right there. Either way, it's above the natural extension that it's been gravitating towards. This thing is essentially going into a new cycle, right? Now, two things happen when you get above this natural extension of the 4.2 to the 4.6. I think you saw it on that first chart. Essentially what happens, it starts a new cycle. So you basically have to find the scale that it's sitting on right now, right? Or that it's gravitating towards right now, right? This was our first cycle, which basically created this entire chart, but we just ran out on that one, right? A lot of times, sometimes you could even do a little sideways extension. And if we go from the top, yeah, that's crazy right there, right? And this is just the Fibonacci tool. It's like when you circle it in on this one section of the chart, right? Where gold had this consolidated moment before it broke out again. That was basically the end of that first cycle. We have this as basically our natural capstone to that section of the chart, right? And that worked out perfectly. So now gold is going to be looking to start a continuation pattern on a larger scale. And so in order to figure that part out, you really just extend it up to the next path of least resistance, and that's that intersection right there. And it still has a lot of resonance. You see it just consolidated, just sat down I don't even know I got that one over there. Sat down on that 1-6, and this is like a huge area of consolidation in the chart. Basically shows you that's kind of the midpoint. Even up here, it consolidated between the 2-2 and the 2-4, right? And that's normally a big area for constriction. It's kind of like limbo land, is where it stretches out and it gets tight, you know? So now that we're sitting north of 3-2, the natural thing gold wants to do is to continue to rally, right? It wants to get up to the 4-2 and the 4-6. The issue that we're going to have is that it hasn't been this hot in a while. And normally, there you go right there. Yeah, so it's probably going to get up here before it starts to take a break. And that's right around 2,600. Right now it's around 2,300. But once it comes back down to 22, 24, it's got a lot of inertia, a lot of momentum. I mean, even when you zoom in on those moving averages, our quick moving average is going up, our middle moving average is going up, and our long moving average is going up. So that means any given candle, any given day, and keep in mind this is a 3-day chart, any given candle, any given day, any bad sell-off cannot reverse that pattern. You would need essentially 9 months of negative data to offset the sequence that we're in right now, right? Especially with this double yield on the 3-2 and the 1-6 for the short term. So this is a very strong chart. This is one of the reasons why I'm doing the video. Now, as I just said, gold is usually indicative of financial turmoil, right? And real quick, if you appreciate this video, you appreciate this insight, this knowledge, you know what I'm saying? Hit that thumbs up button. I certainly do appreciate you, right? One of the things I talked about was inflation and how with the Bretton Woods Agreement, essentially gold was devalued because it was no longer tied to common currency, right? It was just a speculative investment vehicle at best, which had its price suppressed for the better part of 2 or 3 decades, right? So it's kind of difficult to say that it doesn't keep up with inflation, but in my mind, I almost view it as a hedge against inflation. Put it this way. Some people, save their money and store it under their bed. Put it in a jar, put it in a, in the Bible, envelope of money, put it in the Bible, put it in grandma's room, right? That's not the best thing to do because those paper dollars are devaluing themselves in money every single day in purchasing power, right? The smarter thing to do would be to convert it to gold, because at that point you at least have the monetary growth associated with each iota ounce of gold that you have, right? I think what this shows us more than anything is that just in the past 20 years, if it's accurate to say that gold is a accurate representation of inflation, our money has been devalued almost 10 times, right? Early 2001, gold was $263 an ounce. Might as well call it $230, right? Today we're sitting north of 2,300. That's 20x on the inverse, which means the dollar has essentially declined that amount or some relative correlation, and gold as a result has absorbed that hidden cost. I think that's the best way to speculate on the relative value over time that gold has. And even since COVID, like this is when they printed all that money, $3 trillion. Since then, gold has gone up significantly, right? But that's because we just watched all of our money get devalued just that quick. And this was, right around there, right? That was that little COVID flash crash, right? Early April. But since then, gold has gone up significantly on this chart, 30%. But that's basically our money going down 30%, the purchasing power of the dollar. I think that's probably the safest correlation you can have and make it stick for everyday utilization. What is gold's value? Another thing I wanted to touch on is the fact that we do live in an electromagnetic reality, right? Your magnet wouldn't stick to your refrigerator if this wasn't true, right? The radio wouldn't be able to pick up frequencies, invisible sound waves from halfway across the city if this wasn't true, right? Frequency, I think Tesla said, said something. Let me look this up real quick. Yeah, there you go. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, right? Vibration is essentially the node, kind of like the center of that circle, and frequency is how big the circle is, how often it's expanding or contracting, right? Vibration is if you think of like a ripple in a water, right? You throw a stone into a pond, right? Those ripples are essentially the vibration of the water dissipating over time. I say all that to correlate gold with some of the universal principles and the energy that is contained within this, quote, precious metal. Why do they call it precious? What value does it have that maybe they didn't talk about in economics class, right? When you look at the Kabbalion, this is one of the most, universal teachings on cosmic theology and, the constructs of our reality. They talk about the principle of vibration. They say the principle embodies the truth that everything is in motion, everything vibrates, nothing is at rest, with modern science and Dorothy's. And each new scientific discovery tends to verify this truth. This is going all the way back to Egypt, and the principle that they used to build the pyramids. The higher the vibration, the higher the position in the scale, right? Why is it called a precious metal, right? I think one of the use cases of that metal is to transmit energy. It has an industrial use in modern electronics to help transmit energy, right? Now, granted, that's a mechanical, biochemical transfer where they're sending electrons through these little wires and circuits that might be soldered or anchored in gold or silver. But I think from a metaphysical standpoint, I'm fairly confident in my hypothesis that the more gold you acquire, the more gold you attract. I'm fairly certain that's an accurate correlation. And I'm about 98% certain it works with silver, because I did it with silver. You know what I'm saying? Like, trust me, I did it with silver. I went from, 10 ounces to 100 to 1,000. Like, it flows after you break through a threshold. It just seeks you, right? It's like you align to it, you vibrating to it. There's no resistance, right? You become the superconductor. You see what I'm saying? And this is just a byproduct that allows you to materialize your reality. Potentially. Right? ... maybe question mark to be determined, right? But we do know this. Gold is biblical money. You know what I'm saying? Kings measured the wealth of their empires in gold. They said Mansa Musa, when he was making his pilgrimage to Mecca, he had 80 camels. Each one of them had 300 pounds of gold on his back. Crazy. And one of the quotes from the good book says, by your wisdom and your understanding, you have made wealth for yourself and have gathered gold and silver into your treasuries. That's Ezekiel 28:4. Pretty sure that's the first time I ever read scripture on this channel. I'm so happy it correlates to wealth accumulation, because that is my mission. Help as many people get as much as possible and literally buy your bondage. You know what I'm saying? And I would imagine if Mr. Ezekiel or whoever, dictated this part, if they were alive today, Bitcoin would be in that list. It would say, you made a wealth for yourself, you bought Bitcoin before it hit 100,000, and you still got a little bit of gold and silver on the side because it's good for your energetic materialization of your wishes and well intentions. Amen. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure it fits, right? We go from biblical money to digital money. We went from biblical money to paper money to digital money. But now we're watching it all transform. And like I say, water is energy, is currency, is the current of the sea. Like energy follows the fundamental law. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. I think this is one of Newton's laws, right? Law of the conservation of energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It only changes from one form to another, right? It changes from one form to another. You can't create it. You can't destroy it. It just keeps moving in a circle. Well, wait a minute. What happens if we change the word energy with water? Water cannot be created or destroyed. Doesn't it just move from one form to another? Has anybody in this world ever figured out how to make water or how to destroy it? So water is synonymous with energy, is synonymous with currency, is the current of the sea, is water. You see what I'm saying? It's like the two are one and the same, right? And so these are the principles I've used behind the scenes to start to ride these waves, as they say, right? I've recognized, my formal background. I don't speak too much on it, but you know what I'm saying? If you go say it, put some respect on my name. My formal background, I got a bachelor's in civil engineering. I did about 6 semesters of calculus, University of Wisconsin, stand up, UW. And, I took fluid mechanics. And one of the things we talked about was Bernoulli's principle and how to measure the forces of water as they flow against each other. We did water distribution systems, batch reactor equations, crazy stuff. But now, this is how I view the market. It's a fluid conscious entity. It's like an ocean. You know what I'm saying? We just zooming in on one section of the ocean, saying does the tide go up or the tide go down? What's gonna happen next? You know what I'm saying? Should we swim against the tide or should we swim, for it? Is it moving up? Is it going down? Should you buy it or should you sell it? Well, wait a minute, Brandon. Isn't that the principle of polarity? Yes, it is. Everything is dual. Everything has two poles. Everything has opposites, right? Is it going up or is it going down? This is the only question you need to answer, essentially, if you want to make money and profit. Now, I do what's called, design thinking. I'm looking at the entire game board changing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at stuff people don't even think about yet, right? And, that's a conversation for another day. But, I think this is a great opportunity for, if you don't own any gold, this is a great opportunity for you to buy gold. You don't have to buy a lot, right? Atmex.com. Right here, you can go on there. They're selling full ounces, $25.80, right? $2,580. It's a little bit of a markup interchange for spot, but I'm pretty sure you can get, like a tenth of an ounce. Like if you just wanted to spend $100, they have different coins you can get on here, for as low as $129. It's like 1/25 of an ounce. So the markup, I'm sure, is a lot higher on that one. But, this is a very, very easy, and this is like Amazon for gold and silver. Precious metals, right? Recognize that we do live in a electric reality. You know, polarities repel, similarities attract, you know, and there are sacred texts that have been written and utilized for thousands, literally thousands of years that speak these truths. This is the 7 Hermetic principles. I don't think I ever really talked about it on this show. You know, and I was going through putting the content together, and I was like, you have to talk about energy like gold. They say it's not a superconductor, but it has to be. Otherwise, why would governments hoard it? Like, you got to think about that part. Like, if it didn't bring you energy, like, why is it so difficult to get so much of it? But they got it with no problem. Like, you got to start thinking about this stuff. Like, I can't be the only one, you know? Like, shit. But there you go, guys. Gold is a great buy right now. It should run as high as, I think we said, 24, 25, 26 before it gets tired. Keep in mind, it is at a double top, so it doesn't have the theoretical support. It's really just running on steam right now. But that steam should take it up to hopefully start to fill some of those hidden channels that we saw in that second extension right there, right? So because this is a double top, this thing is basically running hot. It just running on faith. You know what I'm saying? It's running on faith right now. But because of that, right, a lot of people are excited for this thing. Peter Shilton finally made some money on gold. He could finally retire. Go to a golf course and live out the rest of his days. He ain't recommended Bitcoin not one day. But he keep telling his people to buy gold. So they finally made their 30%. I hope they happy. You know what I'm saying? Bitcoin went up 3,000. They got 30 on gold. So, you know, like I said, Ezekiel would definitely support decentralized finance. I'm just throwing that out there, right? But this is where gold should be able to extend to 2,600 if it doesn't run out of steam. If it does, then it definitely has some long-term support right here as long as it stays north of 2,100, and it'll hit its head eventually, you know, on 3 bands, right? But again, I think in the bigger picture, that's just starting to show the purchasing power that we have, you know, basically had confiscated from us for participating in this kakistocracy. So there you go, everybody. That's what I got for you. Should you buy gold? Absolutely. Not only is it biblical money, but it has energetic value as well. And if it didn't, then your government would not hoard it all to themselves, right? There you go. Let's do our shout out game again. I say every single video I do is a chance for you to win some free BTC. So let me just go into these comments. Let me see who still needs to get their city shouted out. I haven't even looked at these yet. XRP is king from Fozman6884 was good. Boss walking in San Diego. London is in here every single video. A702, what it do? Good to see you. I'm in Vegas, so if you in Vegas, like maybe we go grab some food or a burger or something, let me know, right? The boss is back. You feel me? It's good to be back. Let's get this money. And, you know, we go keep it on wheels and keep on rolling. If you want to get your shout out, if you want a chance to win some free BTC, leave me a comment. Let me know where you repping, what part of the world you're in. We do have a global community. I think last time I checked on YouTube, this thing stretched 30 different countries. It's crazy. So the call to action right here, join the community. If you just now coming across my channel, 25,000 members on Facebook. It's called the #1 Bitcoin group in the world. #1Bitcoin. Type it into Facebook. Come on in. The doors are always open. You can always also add me on Telegram. It's a much smaller group, but that will be growing as well. I will include links in the #1 comment pinned on this video. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your time. With that being said, everybody, it's that time of the day. Signing out. Boss. Boy BK, no matter where you stay, Brazil to Bay, California, all the way back out through Germany. Good night, good morning, and good day. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your time. Hit that thumbs up button for a player one time. Do that for me if you appreciate mine. Till we meet again, stay cryptic, y'all. Peace.
Like a boss.
Huh. Like